I know that sounds kind of silly, but I've been playing in bands since I was like 14 or 15, and I'm turning 27 this year. So like Ace is a perfect example. Like we grew up a town over before we were even doing bands, and then both of our bands were playing shows together also. And then but then it seems like there's a really great new wave of community in the scene, which is really, really rad because living in Chicago now, there's a really awesome infrastructure of like house shows and ethics and great where like bands will come in and we want to show them a good time. We want to be like, hey, Chicago's rad. We want to show you that it's rad. And the trade-off for that is when we come to your town, you'll show us how great your town is. So, and that's been built just through friends of friends. Like when I started doing stuff with No Sleep, like No Sleep didn't really have a huge roster at the time, but it was me, Wonder Years, La Dispute, and Touche Amore, and we were all really, really young at doing what we were doing, but all touring at the same time and like trying to do the same thing at the same time. And when you're, it's a group of bands that don't have a lot of resources, you have to pool your resources to be able to get anything done, and that's basically what all of the bands in our, like, No Sleep, Top Shelf, Run for Cover, like, all of those bands all kind of did at the same time. We're like, hey, you're friends with so-and-so, well, if you can help us, we can help you, and do you want to come on tour with my band? Like, I like your band, do you want to come on tour with us? And it kind of just worked out that way. And I think, and it's not only been with me, but it's been with everybody. Like, everyone's kind of just helping each other out and making this community of bands, and I think that's something to be admired because I don't think it's happened in music in a long time.
It's been a very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, probably that hardcore eruption that happened in like the mid to late 90s is probably the last time it was really prevalent. Or even relevant.
Bands were friends, and it wasn't just like bands were like stoked to play with each other because they were like one band was bigger than the other. It was like they were stoked to play with each other just because they could see their friends. It's like I'm stoked to play shows with my homies. That's way more fun than being like, well, how many kids is this band gonna draw? Like, who gives a shit? Like, I want to, just kick it. Yeah.
Do you think that's got to do with like how the scene's changed in terms of like the internet has made it so that more people can go out and it's less? I feel like bands today are a lot less about getting famous and like making it big.
Well, I mean, Koji. I had said this in a couple other interviews, and Koji and I had made it distinctly clear this year that we feel like in music right now, there's no room for bullshit. There's no money for it. There's no room for it. Like no one wants to pay these huge fees to see bands play with this like elaborate setup that aren't doing the things that doing something that seems insincere. They want to see a band that's doing something sincere and doing something hardworking and doing something that they've earned and doing something like exciting, and that's coming back, which is cool because it was when I was growing up, that was what I wanted to see. I felt like that kind of went away for a while, and now it's back again. But like people just want to see something real, and I think that has a lot to do with
it. So you have your blog that you keep up, while you're on tour, or you're in between tours, stuff like that,
loosely keep it up.
Yeah. I mean, well enough. It's there's information.
Right?
Yeah. You got your Twitter and your Facebook, and you don't just use that stuff for yourself. You use it for everyone you're associated with, everybody you go out on tour with, and judging by, I was looking at your archived posts, and you seemed a little timid about it at first, not quite sure what to make of it. But you seem to kind of be, very much into the technological arena now.
I mean, originally when we were doing 52 Weeks, there wasn't much of anything.
Yeah.
And when I remember, I was like so anti-Twitter for the longest time. I was like, this is the stupidest website. This shit is so dumb. And then finally, one of my friends had signed me up for it, and they were like, you have to get into it over it before someone else gets it. You got it for me. And then I started using it. I was like, this is the best shit ever. Like, I can talk about all the dumb shit I do all the time.
Yeah.
No one, people might think it's funny.
Right? That's what it is.
But it's like it's funny too, like how many connections and friendships I've made, and correspondences that have been opened up just through a tweet. Like it's awesome that how like that even that like brief amount of social networking has brought together like some of the most important relationships that I have right now. Is like as far as like friendships go, or like making music or touring or anything. You know what I mean?
Have you seen like a negative side to that? Like
Twitter?
haters?
Not really. I remember I tweeted about how I thought the newer-ish Matchbox 20 video looked like a ripoff of REM's Everybody Hurts video, and I got a lot of negative tweets about that. They were like, fuck you don't know anything about Matchbox 20. Like, all these people just searched Matchbox 20 and saw my tweet and got upset about it.
Wow.
But I got retweeted by Ashton Kutcher once. I thought that was cool.
Nice.
Are you finding it like challenging to maintain the presence on something like Twitter or Facebook and like correspond with people? Like, is it something you feel like you have to keep up with now?
I mean, it's not something that I feel like I have to keep up with. It's something that I enjoy keeping up with. I remember when I was getting into bands when I was young, like I always wanted to like interact with the bands that I liked and wish that there was a way to like communicate with them or like feel like there was like a personal relationship there. And I felt like even when I started touring, like I didn't start touring playing big shows. Like I started touring playing like living rooms to 5 or 6 people. You know what I mean? It's like that's what I'm used to. That's what I'm accustomed to. I'm used to that like very personal social interaction. Like everyone I know, like everyone here can see me tonight. We're my friends. You know what I mean? It's like people I've met and known and talked to and share time with. Like today we got dinner today. You know what I mean? It's like we're hanging out. And like next time I come back, we're gonna hang out again. You know what I mean? So no, I mean I enjoy keeping up with it just because I think it's fun and I'm interested in what's going on in my friends' lives. But as far as it being difficult, it's extremely difficult because I live in the Stone Age when it comes to technology. I've got the worst, crappiest, oldest phone. I'm using a PC from like 2005. Like nothing I have is new or state of the art. So it's like really hard for me to stay like on top of things for like every single day. You know, like I only ever get on the internet like maybe once every 5 days. So it's which is cool on one hand because I feel like I'm off the grid somehow, but it's kind of sucks because I feel like I can't always be in touch with everything. I've got to try to find that happy medium where I don't have a smartphone, but I can still, because I feel like if I had one, I'd be on it all the time. I don't want that. I don't know, just my life being sucked away into a phone, you know. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's difficult on that front, but it's not difficult to keep up with people who are interested. Like, that's really